sitting down with your favorite cup of coffee and some tidbits on the side while hanging out with your friends. Does that sound like an ideal evening to you? Well, you're not alone. India's young population is flocking cafes like never before. Go to a Starbucks or a Barista or a Tim Hortons and you'll see that it's always full of people either catching up with their friends or finishing up some work or even having a quick business meeting. For a country that's otherwise been predominantly known as a tea drinking market, India's cafe and coffee culture has come a long way. The whole idea that a lot can happen over a cup of coffee actually started way back in 1996 when Café Coffee Day opened its first outlet in India. Now, while CCD pioneered the concept of cafes in India, the industry actually exploded in the past couple of years. Today, EY values India's coffee chain market at 5,000 crore rupees, growing at 20 to 22% in the last 2 to 3 years. Despite its dwindling popularity, CCD continues to have the most number of cafes in India, followed by players like Tata Starbucks, Barista and Costa Coffee. Then there are a whole host of homegrown players like Third Wave Coffee and Blue Tokai that are also rapidly expanding their presence in the country. No wonder then that global players like Pret A Manger and Tim Hortons also want a pie of this thriving market. So what's driving this craze? From filter coffee to cappuccino, macchiatos to brewed and drip coffee, India is now experimenting a lot more with its coffee. This is especially driven by millennials and the Gen Z.
So obviously the macro levels, which is concerning the entire consumption ecosystem in the country, which seems to be on the uptick, given the fact that there is a steady GDP growth which is coming in, income levels are kind of going up, and there is a huge, ever increasing, ever expanding middle class which is coming into fray not only in A cities but also in B cities and C cities. They see a cafe as an extension of their lifestyle, as an extension of their home and office environment where they can sit, they can hold meetings, they can socialize, and I think that need is kind of expanding as well.
The way the cafes has come up is informal, it's casual, people like the kind of ambience that is being provided, and hence from meeting at a friend's place or at their own house, they're now meeting outside.
And complimentary services like free Wi-Fi also incentivize the consumer to spend more time at the cafe, not just in metros but in tier 2-3 markets as well.
What we have now proven over a period of time is the fact that not only is it a metro phenomenon, but even as we move into the smaller markets, the smaller towns, we are now there in 46 cities across the country, and everywhere we have grown, we have got the same love.
And if numbers are any indication, coffee chains are betting big. Tata Starbucks crossed 1,000 crores in revenue this year and is rapidly expanding its presence in the country in the coming years. Barista is reportedly looking to invest about 100 crore rupees in the country to open about 500 outlets by 2025. New entrant Tim Hortons is also rapidly expanding its presence and is looking at hundreds of stores in India by 2026. Experts say growth will not be without challenges. To expand and capture this growing market, cafes, especially the smaller and the newer ones, will have to deal with high manpower and rental costs, thereby necessitating high productivity per square foot. This then has an impact on their ability to build scale and depth, especially in tier 2 and 3 markets.
There is a lot of challenge on the real estate because all the good operators tend to go after the same piece of real estate, and that kind of makes it scarce in supply and high in price. So that's one dynamic which kind of everybody has to handle. The other is obviously it's a very people-oriented business. So in terms of trained manpower, in terms of people who are happy to interact with the customers and accentuate their experience in the cafe, I think that is probably the second biggest challenge that any cafe chain will face.
There is no doubt that a massive opportunity exists. India currently consumes just about 100 grams of coffee per capita annually as compared to 10 to 12 kgs per capita per annum consumed in more mature markets, giving immense scope of growth for cafes. And for you and me, a lot more choice when we want to grab our next cuppa.